Hi, my name is Barry, and this is a Star Trek Online gameplay video. It's a five-man save the Starbase mission, sort of a five-man pug pickup group, some random strangers thrown together to help defend this starbase from Orion Syndicate. Okay, so we start off with a bit of a cutscene to get us started, and the fight is already underway. So we move into place here, and we've got some science ships, tactical, engineering. Alright, got a good mix here. So if we stay grouped up, tend to do pretty well. I'm going to zoom in here a bit so you can see me in the whole hullabaloo here. Things tend to get pretty hectic pretty quick. We've got some tactical science and engineering ships. Tactical tend to be the DPS, the damage dealers. Actually, all ships in here deal damage. They're all pretty good, but specifically, TAC tends to be higher DPS. Engineering tends to be sort of a tank of the group. They tend to do a lot of broadsiding, a little more slow moving, circling the battle, getting the enemy's attention. And science tends to be the healers, the support group, but also all ships, as I said, doing good damage. I'm flying a Sao Paulo, or basically a variant on the Defiant class type ship, being a big DS9 fan myself. And I am actually level 50, which is the max level, so I'm a Vice Admiral, but call myself Captain. We're doing pretty good here. Wiped out that group there. I think we're waiting for another wave to come in. And there they are. So it looks like we have our second wave. There's a group there, and a group over there. And it looks like Gideon's heading that way. We've got some interceptors, some small ships. I'll head over this way. Now, watching this in hindsight, I tended to pick up some of the mistakes I made along the way. But as I move in, you'll see me firing multiple torpedoes. That's sort of what we would call an AoE, area of effect attack. I can either set my torpedoes to have a very high explosive yield or spread them out amongst multiple targets. Same thing with my cannons. They're forward facing. They do a lot of damage. They can either be focused on a target or spread out. Now at this point I got tractor beamed. I hadn't even noticed it, and I have a lot of bad guys shooting at me. So I'm releasing some theta radiation, and this works as a slow. It's kind of like putting an ice patch or something to trap the enemy ships. It tends to jam up their engines, maybe drop some of their systems. And unfortunately, I was not paying attention. Didn't realize I was tractor beamed. Didn't really realize so many people did not like me. And we'll respawn and head back into the fight. Now, respawn's pretty quick. The fight continues on. I'm out here along the outskirts and can pretty quickly move back into place. So as I mentioned, so I have cannons listed. I mentioned my torpedoes. There's also some beam weapons up front. Most of my weapons are forward-facing. I have some turret weapons that can fire out the back, so at least I'm always moving damage towards the target. I also have a rear-facing torpedo. But generally, most of my damage comes when I'm doing strafing attacks, moving in, forward-facing. I can also, you'll notice my officers in red. I'm not sure if you're looking at this in a sort of a high def or a big screen version, but I'm focusing on this Slave Master battleship. I've got along the bottom row in the red section there's 3 tactical officers. First one is the cannons, so an officer kind of dedicated to handling the cannons. Second officer over there dedicated to handling the torpedoes, and final officer on the end is dedicated to beam weapons. And then below that is the engineer and my science officer, bridge officers. So I have a gray alien that I customized, Lieutenant Gray. So he gives me emergency powered weapons and an ability to modulate my weapons to help go through shields better. And my science officer has my emergency powered shields and my ability to help reinforce my hull and make my internal structure a little bit stronger, so sort of the damage mitigation. But most of the rest of the powers are based on dealing damage. So I've slowed down my throttle to kind of keep myself up in line with this slow-moving battleship, trying to wear him down. And I'll also notice I'm doing a lot of scattering scatter volley torpedoes, scatter shot cannons, because there's a lot of interceptors, little fighters flying around, and this is just kind of good for randomly picking them off. I tend to fire it off a lot because I never know when one's going to swing into my line of sight, and they're very quick. Not a lot of damage, but they're really annoying. So I'm again releasing the theta radiation, damage the ship, at least stall it, give my teammates a shot at it. Now this time I also used my oh crap button to get myself, it's basically a very speedy disengage or a move away from the fight, and I can kind of heal myself up. So this time I'm paying a little more attention, learned from my mistakes last time, and trying to mitigate my damage a bit more. I can also have some tactical abilities to really power up my weapons and give some good burst damage on some items. Unfortunately, I just burst damage a very small fighter, which was a small waste, but hey, he's dead. So we're doing pretty well as a team. This time we're sticking together in this group. I have noticed on myself I've gotten a couple buffs from the engineer, a couple buffs from the science ship. We're focusing, and we've pretty much taken care of this wave. The weapons I tend to use are Tetrion weapons. They're in the, I don't know if you know Star Trek or not, but there's phaser weapons and disruptor weapons and Tetrions and all Polaron weapons, all kinds of different types of energy types. And I tend to stick with the one type, one for the bonus that it gives for being able to do more damage. And we have two groups to choose from. So there's one group to the right, one to the left, and everybody seems to be heading to the left. So I'm going to join them, learn my lesson, stick together, and we're going to try the team on the left first. My range is also about 10K, so I'm going to power up my officers, get all my abilities going, and once I get into a range of a couple ships, just unleash. There we go, and just spread the love. So as I was saying, the Tetrion weapons tend to have a higher chance to drop shields or damage shields or pull them down, so I prefer those because I really don't like shields, and much easier to, once you get to the, once you crack those shields, it's much easier to kind of wear down the meat of the ship there. I'm taking a lot of damage again. I've gotten a lot of people's attention, so I'm going to release the theta radiation one more time. Maybe tag that guy too. And then let them sit and stew in there. And I'm also, again, working on my damage mitigation, getting those shields going, making sure I'm cycling them around and making sure the facing shields are reinforced. But as I said, not only do I prefer Tetrion because it allows me to drop shields, but it also allows me to go in and drop shields for my teammates as well. It's just nicer that they can focus on a weakened ship, maybe that has one side of its shields down. Makes it much easier for the team to take out. And I'm going to swing around on this fellow and try to finish off this cruiser. Now, I slowed down a bit for that other cruiser, but this one, I tend to go full speed when I can. For small ships like mine, speed is life. We do get a bit of a defense bonus when we're moving at full speed, as opposed to kind of sitting in one spot and being a turret, just kind of rotating side to side. It's much better if we're moving around and maneuverable. So I think I see a weakened cruiser there. I'm going to try to take that out as well. Yeah, once we take care of a lot of the smaller ships, I'm going to focus on this battleship over here and try to wear it down. So as I was saying, there's phasers, there's disruptors. A lot of the energy types do different types of damage, but phasers and disruptors and those tend to be very common. So even in PvP play, you'll see not a lot of defense built around Tetrion weapons. So I'll go up a lot against a lot of people who are ready to take on people with phasers or disruptors or Polaron weapons, but not too often Tetrion. If you notice, I just released a torpedo out of my rear torpedo port there, and the ship has gone dead. But before, it had a bit of a purple haze to it. That rear-facing torpedo is a Harpeng torpedo launcher, so it is a Klingon torpedo launcher. I earned it in a mission. And it basically explodes, does a good deal of damage, and also releases a DOT, damage over time effect, Harpeng radiation, which eats away at the ship as well. So it's nice, you know, 1-2 punch to really finish somebody off. It's nice to go in with the forward-facing weapons, wear them down, and sometimes, you know, like you saw there, torpedo come around and just knock them out. So we have 2 more groups again. I'm going to start trying to get the attention of these guys and keep them off the base, but I believe we've lost, yeah. So that group that we had ignored earlier had gotten too close to the base for too long. They were able to get boarding parties on, you know, or at least do enough damage to the base. But we're going to go down fighting. I think they're making their escapes, but we're going to take a few more ships with us. But they're not always winners, but we had a good fight, had a lot of fun. Hope you had fun watching. You know, darn, you know, sometimes it happens, but can always come back, try again. Hope you enjoyed watching, and look me up in Star Trek Online.